Yo, what is up, my friends? It's your boy Steve from Straight Fire Picks, back with your best bets for NFL week number 10 here on Sunday, November 9th, 2025. 1 and 4 o'clock games. We're going to have 4 player props here for you today, a spread pick, a total pick, a anytime touchdown parlay, and a for the Sweep Parlay. Let's lock in and have a great week 10 in the NFL.
Well, my presence isn't real. It's another bad one like this is scale. It's straight fire. All my bets straight from. You're in the house that cat made now. Straight fire.
As always, my friends, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button for me. Always appreciate that. We are on the road to 10,000 subscribers. Appreciate all of your guys' support as always. Let's lock in and make some money here in week 10 in the NFL. I'm actually really excited for this week. Should be a great week of action. Got a lot of stuff that we really like today, so really excited for that. Let's start with a recap from our last NFL video, NFL Thursday Night Football between the Broncos and Raiders. We ended up going 2-1 that night. We cashed the first half under 21.5 points in Raiders-Broncos there. That was pretty sweat-free. 14 points there in the first half. 17 for the entire game. So ugly football is what we got on Thursday night, and I loved it. So that was great. We had Troy Franklin over 38.5 receiving yards. He cashes this right at the end of the game. But I'm going to tell you something. Him dropping the pass on the previous drive before that one catch he got at the end cost us the bet on Ashton Genty, because we had Ashton Genty under 55.5 rushing yards. He was sitting at like 45, I believe. And if Troy Franklin had caught the pass on the previous drive, he dropped it, and then the ball was batted and intercepted, and then Genty came out the next drive, got like 15 yards rushing on like 3 carries. He was going to go under. I was very confident he was going under as long as Franklin made that catch. So we would have had a sweep, would have cashed our parlay. It would have been a fantastic night. But, of course, Franklin with the key catch, key drop. But at least he did come back the next drive, made up for it, and got us the cash. And we move on to the next day. I was frustrated after that. I'm not going to lie to you. But it is what it is. Still a 2-in-1 day, plus 0.54 units. Not too bad there. As far as our comet cappers go, we had Gotta Get the Bag calling J.K. Dobbins over 69.5 rushing yards. You know how Gotta Get the Bag does it, guys. We love to see it. Dropping the heat down in the chat, making the money. We love to see it, guys. Make sure you guys don't forget to drop your favorite pick down below for NFL Sunday. Put a star or an asterisk next to your pick, and if your pick does hit down in the chat, we'll include your pick in our next video if it hits, or rather in our Thursday Night Football video, because we do a full recap then. Our Sunday night, Monday night videos, we don't do recaps in, because obviously we record them early, so kind of hard to do a recap when you're recording them on Saturday. So, outside of that, guys, one last quick thing. Make sure you guys check out the pinned comment and description down below. It's got all of our links that you guys would be looking for here at the channel. Social media links, membership links, merchandise links, all down below in the pinned comment and description. Membership is just $3.99 for the entire month here, and you get access to all these picks and plays early. A bunch of time in advance of the video, particularly in the NFL. We had these picks actually posted last night for our Straight Fire MVP. So make sure you guys take advantage of that if you guys are looking for the early lines. Like I said, it's cost of less than a coffee for the entire month. So really is some great value there. Outside of that, guys, let's get after today. Let's get a sweep in the NFL. Let's have a huge week and keep the winning momentum rolling that we got there from Thursday. Let's get right into our picks here. And number one, I don't usually do this, but I'm backing my team here. We're going with the Detroit Lions, minus 8.5 spread here versus the Washington Commanders. We're going minus 105 odds on Fanatics. You guys know I must really love this because I'm very hesitant to always back my teams just because, you have that inherent bias. But this really, truly is my favorite spread pick on the board this week for a lot of reasons. Lions, as you guys know, coming off a 27-24 loss to the Vikings last week, in which, obviously they didn't play that great last week. They didn't look prepared. Well, after a loss under Dan Campbell since 2023, you can't do any better than what the Lions do. The Lions are 9-0 against the spread after a loss since 2023 under Dan Campbell with a plus 10.1 spread differential average. You can't do it any better than that, guys. That's, like I said, that's about as good as you could do, as good as you could hope for, and I think you're going to see that in this one here. The Lions are in prime position to blow out the Commanders in this spot. This season, I mean, if you look at this season, they're 2-0 against the spread after a loss with a plus 17 differential this year. The biggest things, though, in this one, obviously, the Commanders are dealing with a ton of injuries. No Jane Daniels, Terry McLaurin injured. So, their key pieces are out. Their defense has been horrible. They're 30th in yards per play allowed at 6.2. You saw what the Seahawks did to them last Sunday. Last Sunday, or was that Monday night? It was Sunday or Monday night. But it was not a good game, obviously, for the Commanders. And they really have had a lot of that lately where their defense hasn't looked very good. And obviously, their offense is going to struggle, too, now with no Jade Daniels. Mariota, I don't think, can really take advantage of the weakness of this Lions defense right now, which would be the secondary. I don't think Mariota is the guy that can take advantage of that. Where Washington would have success would probably be versus a bad run defense, and Detroit has a great run defense. So I just don't see the points coming here for the Commanders in this one. I see them really struggling to score, and I don't see them stopping the Lions either. On the offensive side, the Lions have been obviously one of the best offenses in the league for a while now. And I think that's going to continue here. I think they're going to get back on track. They're going to be focused. They're going to get the running game going with Gibbs and Montgomery, and it's going to just allow them to open up the entire field, and then the Commanders are going to be SOL. They're going to have a lot of hard times stopping the Lions. I don't see them stopping them much at all. So like I said, the number that really sold me, though, is the 9-0 since 23 against the spread after a loss. It just shows you that they regroup and they refocus when they have to. Losses sometimes are a very good thing for a football team, and Detroit has obviously proven that. They don't lose 2 in a row. It just doesn't happen. They get back on track quick. So that's what happens here. They're on a prime spot despite it being on the road. I think they dominate the Commanders here. So love it there for number 1 pick, guys. We got Detroit Lions minus 8.5 spread here versus the Washington Commanders. We got minus 105 odds here on Fanatics. Gain at number 2, we got the under 45.5 points in the Cardinals Seahawks game. We're going minus 105 odds here on DraftKings. So this is my favorite total pick of the week. Obviously, a divisional matchup, which I love seeing that. Anytime you get two divisional teams against each other, there's a lot of defensive energy, right? You want to go out and make big hits and all this type of stuff. And a lot of times you end up with lower scoring games. And that's proven the case in this particular matchup with the Cardinals and Seahawks. When they get together, this total has gone under in 4 of the last 5 meetings, including this season, 23-20 out in Arizona. It gets stingy, right? Which is what I'm expecting here. I'm expecting a stingy game. Both these defenses are definitely very good this season. That's really the strengths of both of these teams are their defenses. Seahawks 3rd in yards per play allowed. Cardinals 13th. Pretty solid there. Seahawks 5th in scoring defense. Cardinals 11th in scoring defense. So I really do love both of these defenses for what it's worth, guys. I think they get this done and keep this game relatively low scoring. I could see this being like a 20-17 type of deal here, or something in that range. I think points are going to be very hard to come by here. Both defenses, I think, will be up to the test. And like I said, this total for what it's been in historically between these two teams is just simply set up too high. 45.5 is too high. This should be probably closer to like 41, 42.5. If it was that, I probably wouldn't touch it, but at 45.5, you're getting a lot of value. This game can end 24-21, which is a modestly high-scoring game, and you can still hit the under. So I think for me, just considering those things, I think we're definitely looking at a solid under spot here. So load that for number 2 pick, guys. We get the under 45.5 points in the Cardinals-Seahawks game. We're going minus 105 odds here on DraftKings. Kane at number 3. We're going Christian McCaffrey. Once again, I think this is our 4th straight week. Over 50.5 receiving yards here for the San Francisco 49ers. We got minus 110 odds on Fanatics. So the books have still yet to adjust this line enough. This guy just finds a way to get it done. We've cashed 3 out of 4 with them personally here at the channel. I believe now. So this is actually our 5th week, I think, taking McCaffrey. We've been on his lines a lot. Because they haven't moved his lines, and he just keeps cashing. So what do? I think this dude's, for one, matchup proof. It doesn't matter who he plays at this point. He just seems to find a way to get it done. Even in the one game he didn't get it done, he was on the hook. He finished 1 yard short. So, this guy is there, right? Every time in any matchup, anywhere, anytime, this guy just shows up, and he's been as consistent as they come as far as in the receiving game this season. A lot of that has to do with his targets. He's averaging 8.9 targets per game. You can't really do it too much better than that from the running back position. He's, like I said, he's 8 of 9 this season to this line, averaging 69.6 receiving yards per game. That's about 20 above the line. What are we doing here? I mean, I keep thinking, should I hop off of this? I was starting to feel some type of way. I actually had to talk to my friend, Got to Get the Bag, about this one. And we were consulting about this, and I think we both just landed on the fact that you got to keep taking this. If the books aren't going to make the adjustment, then we'll keep taking it. And in this matchup with the Rams, he's been cashing versus them too. He's 3 of his last 4 versus the Rams, including 82 in a game earlier this season out in LA. So you'd love to see that. The situation remains about the same. Obviously with Mac Jones there at quarterback as well, he's going to start this one. So he's obviously, CMC has been a favorite of Mac Jones, and it's worked out well. CMC has been great in yards after catch. He averages 50 yards after the catch per game. That's crazy. That's his line. Well, I mean, that's wild. He averages that just in yak. His line is his yak, which is crazy. Obviously, it's such a great spot here once again. Negative game script also here for the 49ers as well. So they're probably going to have to throw the ball a lot. Perfect 3 for 3 in home games this season with an 84 receiving yard per game average. I mean, you just can't do it much better than that. Like I said, CMC has really had his way versus the Rams in general. You can look at his rushing and receiving yards as well. It's just been one of those things where he just brings it versus his team. They don't know how to defend him, and until they figure it out, we'll gladly keep taking the money that they'll give us. So, love it there for number 3 pick, guys. We get Christian McCaffrey over 50.5 receiving yards here for the San Francisco 49ers. Minus 110 odds here on Fanatics. At number 4, we got Kyle Pitts Sr. over 45.5 receiving yards here for the Atlanta Falcons. Minus 114 odds on FanDuel. Risking unit here. I should say that Kyle Pitts Sr. treated us very well a few weeks ago when we took him on an over there versus the 49ers. That was pretty sweat-free. I anticipate this one also being a lot like that. This is even a better matchup than we had a few weeks ago. The Colts are terrible at defending tight ends for the entire season. For one, Kyle Pitts Sr. to start with his hit rates, he's 3 of his last 5 to this line. He's really starting to come on as far as in the target count. He's got 26 targets over his last 3 games. It's an average of over 8 per game. So you love to see that. He's definitely becoming more of a favorite target of late, which I love that. And the Colts are, guys, 30th in receiving yards allowed to tight ends. They're one of the worst in the NFL. 11 of 13 qualifying tight ends have cashed their receiving prop versus the Colts. That's crazy. That's absolutely insane. Because there's a lot of tight ends that you just wouldn't expect in there as well. But the notables that cashed were Rondé Gaston, from Syracuse, by the way. I'm from New York, so I actually really like seeing that. Rondé Gaston Sr.'s son, Rondé Gaston Jr. here, 164 yards receiving. Okonkwo for the Titans cashed twice versus the Colts. 53 in one and 66 in the other. And Trey McBride obviously was 72. And there's a bevy of other tight ends that cashed modest lines as well. They just have not defended the tight end position well at all, which I love to see, guys. I think Kyle Pitts Sr. with the target count he's been getting of late with this matchup, 45.5 is just not high enough. He gets this done. Love it there for number 4 pick, guys. We got Kyle Pitts Sr. over 45.5 receiving yards here for the Atlanta Falcons. Minus 114 odds here on FanDuel. At number 5, we got Lamar Jackson over 220.5 passing yards here for the Baltimore Ravens. Going minus 115 odds here on Fanatics. This is actually my favorite play of the week. Lamar, this is such a modest line for arguably, obviously this guy is near the top in quarterback rating and stuff. And I think you're going to see that on full display this week versus this Vikings defense. So Vikings defense has been doing something the last couple weeks, if you guys have noticed, versus teams that are great against the run. They've been really focused on trying to take away the run game for teams that are really good, obviously running the football. The Philadelphia Eagles, they held Barkley to 18 carries, 44 yards rushing. But they allowed Jalen Hurts to throw for over 300 through the air. He absolutely torched him for 326, and Hurts never does that. Last week versus the Lions, they held the Lions at check under 4 yards per carry, but Jared Goff had about 300 yards passing. So my point is, the Ravens are another one of these teams that can run the ball very good, right? With Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, they love to run the football. So I think they're going to try to make Lamar throw, which is weird, but they're going to try to make him do it. And this is just like a perfect storm for him to definitely hit his over and probably throw for 300. Because not only that game plan that they're going to try to take that run away and force him, potentially to throw, he also got Isaiah Likely back last week, which is extremely underrated because the dude is huge in the passing game for Lamar Jackson, especially at making big plays down the field. He's a big play tight end. So I think that is huge. You add that now to Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman. They got some nice weapons now to really make things dangerous in the passing game. So I think not only does Jackson cash, I would consider a ladder on him. I'm not doing it, but I would consider it. His 300 yards passing is plus 530 on Fanatics. I would consider taking a ladder up to 300 because I do honestly think he's going to get it. He's just 2 for 5 this season to this line, but like I said, I think this is a spot where you're going to see him really opening up, especially on the road in Minnesota. So you can also throw the fact that in a dome, right? The Vikings were in a dome for those 2 games versus the Eagles at home versus the Lions in Detroit last week. Obviously, the game speeds up, in a dome. It gets faster. You don't have to deal with the weather. There's going to be some yards through the air here, guys, for Lamar for sure. I expect him to be very dominant here. So, love that for number 5 pick, guys. We got Lamar Jackson over 220.5 passing yards here for the Baltimore Ravens. Minus 115 odds on Fanatics. Okay, and finally at number 6, we're going Dalton Kincaid. Over 40.5 receiving yards here for the Buffalo Bills. Minus 120 odds on Fanatics, risky a unit here. Here's another guy that's treated us very well this season. I believe we're at least 1 for 1 on him, maybe 2 for 2. I think we're 2 for 2 on Kincaid because I think I took him versus the Dolphins and the Patriots, I believe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're 2 for 2 on him. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure we're 2 for 2 this season on him. But love this line on Kincaid, guys. He really has been the guy, the pass catcher in this offense that's been the most reliable. He's 4 for 7 this season, averaging 58.7 yards per game. He's gone over 100 yards in 2 of the last 3 games. You want to consider a ladder on this guy. I'd probably consider a ladder up to like 75 on Kincaid as well. Again, I'm just playing the normal prop. I'm comfortable I'm just going to take the win. I'm going to let this money I'm going to watch the ladder cash, and I'm going to be probably kicking myself. But this is such a premium matchup here. The Dolphins are 28th in receiving yards allowed to tight ends, a lot like the Colts. They don't defend tight ends very well. 4 of the last 6 qualifying tight ends have cashed the receiving line versus the Dolphins. I think, once again, particularly with Kincaid, because he has really kind of become the favorite target of Josh Allen, I think you're going to see him take advantage of this matchup for sure. Like I said, 100-plus yards in 2 of the last 3 games. This guy is coming. We'd love to see it, guys. 66 receiving yards in an earlier matchup this season with the Dolphins, which obviously love to see that. 6-plus targets in 4 of the last 6 games. So like I said, this guy's target share has gone up, and he makes big plays down the field. So usually he's the type of guy that's, not just taking a check down. Allen's firing it like 20 yards down the field to him. So really, it probably only takes 3 catches on Dalton Kincaid to cash this line, to be honest with you, which I love that. So, love it there, guys, for number 6 pick. We're going Dalton Kincaid over 40.5 receiving yards here for the Buffalo Bills. Minus 120 odds on Fanatics, risking a unit here. And for the Sweep Parlay, as always, risking a 10th of a unit, plus 44.59 odds on Fanatics. Obviously, I love all of our plays. Hopefully, we can go 6-0. That would be amazing. We'd lock in a 10 to 12 unit day on Sunday. That would be pretty sweet. And what the doctor ordered, I would love it if that could happen. So love that for the Sweep Parlay there, plus 44.59 on Fanatics. And then our anytime touchdown parlay, plus 27.55 odds on Fanatics. 3 tight ends to score a touchdown. One of the names going to look pretty familiar right away here. Dalton Kincaid, anytime touchdown. I just mentioned the matchup there with the Dolphins. Touchdown in 4 of 7 games, kind of just like his receiving line, including versus Miami. Finn's 27th DVP in touchdowns allowed to tight ends. So you'd love seeing that. Isaiah Likely touchdown. This one's sneaky because he hasn't scored yet this season, but he's just kind of coming back from injury. I think this is a prime spot for Likely to find the end zone. Like I said, I think he's going to be the beneficiary of the holes in that Vikings defense, in their pass defense. Vikings 26th DVP and touchdowns allowed to tight ends. We took Laporta last week versus the Vikings, and he cashed. So definitely comfortable with Likely here. I think he finds his way into the end zone. And Sam Laporta, anytime touchdown 3 of his last 4 games. Commanders 31st DVP touchdowns allowed to tight ends. The last time Laporta played the Commanders, he also scored. So that's great. I love it, guys. I love the value. We're getting almost 30 to 1 here. So I think we're going to lock in. Let's cash it, guys, and have a big week 10 in the NFL. All right, guys, that is it for our picks. If you guys enjoyed the content, as always, make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button. I do appreciate all of you guys. Let's make some money. Drop your favorite pick below. Consider becoming a channel member, guys. You won't regret it. $3.99 per month. It's a great value. Outside of that, it's going to do it for me. You guys have a great rest of your day. We'll catch you next time. Peace out.